Greetings. My name is Michael Miller. This is a Michael Miller trademark training video out to you because you're watching. Thank you and welcome. It's meant for Michael Miller Pilates licensed affiliates, the Core New Core, and anyone interested in surviving and thriving as a Pilates instructor. I have three things today, topics to broadcast about. And the first one is titled, Construct Now, Science to Come. Construct Now, Science to Come. I heard from a Pilates instructor that identified with my profession, that there's an ideal within a method, and labeled it or considered it to be a construct, which I thought was interesting. What do they mean by construct? And Google says a construct is an idea or theory containing various conceptual elements, typically one considered to be subjective and not based upon empirical evidence. Okay. So a construct, an idea or a theory containing various conceptual elements. The idea or theory considered to be subjective and not based upon empirical evidence. That's where I'm not sure about, or where I would make my title, Construct Now, Science to Come. Because yes, within MMP applies a construct to Pilates. It's like in programming when you define a structure. It's like, what is the stuff, what are the things that are in this thing that we're doing? And so in sign language, I'm trying to say that the idea of contrology is uniform, eccentric loading flowing through progressive patterns of movement. That's the MMP definition of the ideal within Joe's work. Now, you might have a different definition, or you might have a different structure, or a different construct, right? But just recognizing that there are, what do they call it, kind of conceptual elements, right? That make it up. Now, where I would take exception to, it's typically considered to be subjective. Yes, the Pilates is, everybody has their own construct. Everybody has their own point of view. It's true, right? But to say that it's not based on empirical evidence, I'm not so sure about. That's why I say science to come. Empirical evidence, meaning you do experiment and make evidence. Well, so in that regard, I split my commentary into CT and MMP. Because core tension, oppositional rotation between axes is just a fact. It's what the body can do and does to move through space. And it's biomechanical because it's the way the body engages itself mechanically to accomplish movement. So I doubt you'll find any of that in a physical therapy book or in biology. It's coming from me, and I've barely made a dent in the Pilates culture, and yet people visiting the Pilates culture that learn about core nutention will take core nutention with them wherever they go and however they move, because it's just the way the biology accomplishes the physics. And so the science to come, core nutention, just the shape of a core nu spiral, also called the Euler curve. Fresnel made an integral of it. It's an equation. It's a shape. It's this much of my trademark without looking like and without the arms and without the Nautilus enhancement. But the core nu spiral, look it up, is a part of what we observe our experience to be and why it is the way it is. And when we go to make embankments that have a smooth curve, or roller coasters, the math and the physics of this shape are integral to creating what you want. If an embankment got washed away by a flood and you wanted to make sure you had a continuing embankment, the math of the core nu spiral would help you connect that. So the science to come, I think the math and the acknowledgement of the presence and existence of core nutention has yet to be empirically documented, meaning scientifically tested and verified to be real. It doesn't stop you as the Pilates instructor knowing about core nutention and your ability to use it in your practice as a teacher, as an instructor. The science to come part also, for me, points to the science that exists today that not many people are up on, and maybe it's gone past where I'm at. But the last time I looked, quantum reality is a thing, and observing is a key aspect, or what they call it, elements. It's a key conceptual element to what we understand in our reality. And to the extent that we understand the role of observing, we can apply the presumption in MMP that spirit is observing, mind is thinking, and body is being. And so the science to come is to draw more light and understanding to the nature of observing and how it's faster than the speed of light and connects you to the universe. Superluminal and non-local is what they call it in scientific jargon, but it means spooky action at a distance, where something happens at a distance and it happens faster than the speed of light. And that has to do with observing. So I think more science will come to what is barely even considered a construct now, but in developing your awareness of the construct of Pilates. To me, what would that mean? Well, that means that you're aware that there's elements within it, what make it what it is, and And see, for me, the construct definitely points to an experience. That's what really is the frosting on the cake of Pilates, is that the method itself, the choreography, is the construct, in that it shows uniform eccentric loading flowing through progressive patterns of movement, and that in implementing that construct, in pursuing the movement of that pattern, you reach for an experience. And maybe that's what the construct is meant to yield, within MMP anyway, is meant to yield the experience. And I'm not sure how you make observation or how you make empirical evidence to this experience that we're talking about. And it's no wonder, because at the heart of our investigation of the world that we live in, physicists point to observing as such a crucial aspect to how we look at things. Okay? Number 2, where's the line? Where's the line? It's like the old commercial, where's the beef? Or I've fallen down and I can't get up. It's like, where is what you're looking for? Getting up, or the beef? Well, in Pilates, I just got done saying that within MMP, you're looking for an experience. But one thing that's, I think, integral to the experience is this sense of eccentricity, of moving away from center. And when I see movement, when I watch movement, it's pretty tough for me not to look for the lines, because lines are emerge out of what's real, and it's an ideal thing, and that a line is an ideal thing, and yet I can take a string that's a line, and if I want to see a straight line, my point is, when you're looking for the line, a line that you want to see in Pilates that's straight isn't so much just static and clinched as much as stretched. And in the stretch, you get the straight, you get the line. Now within CT and MMP, how do you get the stretch? Do you just squeeze your middle together like squeezing a tube of toothpaste and the stretch oozes out both ends? You know, how do you actually stretch your body, stretch the length of your body? How do you make stretch on your spine? Because ideally, to me, what we're doing is we're creating stretch on our spine to decompress the tension that holds it together. That tension often being compression. Compression coming from where? Gravity, right? And so where is the line? And number 3 is, how do you create the line? Well, you create the line with tension. You create the line with tension. And to the extent that you can create tension, you get reach, you get stretch, you get elongation, you get everything that Pilates talks about reaching for. And with CT, you have a means to accomplish what you're after. There are other means, I suppose, and there's other imagery. But I think it's pretty tough to, although it seems pretty easy for many, to turn away from the fact of the physics in our body that's easy to point out in terms of coordinate tension and what that feels like. And then saying that the more you can engage in that, the more uniformly you're engaging your muscles, and then necessarily by doing that, you are lighter in space, because more of you is engaged in supporting the load that you are in space. So those were my 3 things. I gotta go try to say it again in Facebook. Hopefully, second time around it might be clearer. Or not. Sometimes what I get to say to you in YouTube comes across much better than I try to repeat, and it doesn't come out as well the second time. So if you really happen to someday in the year 4040 fall in love with this point of view, this construct that will gain a lot in terms of empirical evidence behind it, but it's only not only, it still is what it is, even prior to the empirical evidence that shows up, that takes it out of the role maybe of being a construct and much more of being, I don't know, what would it be if it goes beyond a construct to the point of having empirical evidence? I don't know, and maybe that won't even be around in the year 4040 because our understanding of observing will still be evolving. So I hope that what you pick up from me is this point of view about CT and MMP that has a structure to it and a sensation attached to it, that whether there's empirical evidence or not exists and really is the wizardry or the magic of instructing in Pilates, because you're knowingly taking the capacity of the human being to observe, think, and be, and helping them coordinate that into a higher state of control, and as such, being more present. Know what you know. I say that a lot, and you have special insight that you have. That's what know what you know means, and that insight is about the balancing of capacities in the human being that transcends just knowing more. So by that I'm leaving you with the statement that don't let the mind distract you, or knowing more distract you from the essence of what it is. Because no amount of knowing, just like no amount of tradition or history or practice, will ever transcend the complete coordination of body, mind, and spirit as a state of being in the body in the moment of the doing. Those are Joe's words and my words. Actually, it's just explaining what I think Joe means by his definition. You know, he doesn't say more. But with MMP, or through the eyes of MMP, it's about right now, and it's about the experience that you're looking for, and that experience has to do with control. Life can't live forever. Read between the lines. See behind the curtain. Add to and to. Direct your thinking. Geist.